live.
We're
Hello.
live.
Hello.
How's it going, man? How's it going?
It's going good. Here with Mr. Hess, Tyler Hess, and Tyler Castle with Tyler's Talking Sports.
What's up?
First episode 1 on 10/8/23. How we doing tonight, Hess?
Doing good, man. Doing real good.
Good.
Doing good.
Good. You ready to talk some sports?
I am. How was your Saturday, man? I didn't get to talk to you too much.
It was good. Well, today's Sunday, so Saturday was good.
That's why I'm asking. I didn't get to talk to you too much yesterday.
Yeah, watched a little bit of football. Went and picked up a pumpkin.
Picked up a pumpkin.
Yeah. Got to get Hudson a pumpkin, my wife a pumpkin, and myself a pumpkin. Since it is fall and getting ready for Halloween. Patch. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Got to get the pumpkins, man.
Right.
But doing well. Watched a little bit of football yesterday.
Gotcha.
Saw some stuff that I was not expecting, to be honest with you. Some stuff I predicted, but yesterday, as you mentioned, as we was talking earlier, was a rough day.
It was. Before we get into too much of that, though, I just want to kind of let everybody know out there, first episode, Tyler's Talking Sports. Me and Castle have went back and forth for years through text messages, phone calls, arguments in person, watching every sporting event from college football, college basketball, NFL, you name it. We've done it. We've watched it all, argued about it. He has his opinion. I've had my opinion. And Several times we've been like, get us a podcast. So we finally broke down. Was like, you know what? Let's do it. We're going to talk about it all, guys. We're going to talk about your big games in college football. We're going to talk about your NBA. We may talk about soccer. We could say something about hockey. NFL, probably ain't going to say much about NASCAR because they just go in circles and do left turns. I'm a NASCAR person, though, so I might throw some NASCAR stuff in there. As far as what we love, as you can see in my background, love some baseball, Georgia Bulldogs, T. Castle there. It's the balls all day. Balls all day long.
Don't matter what it is.
But we're going to have some fun here, guys. We're going to go over some games from this past weekend in college football, and then we're going to hit up some stuff that's happening in the NFL. Right now I got the Broncos-Jets game on right now. It's in the fourth quarter. Jets got the ball with 4 minutes and 40 seconds left. 2nd and 9. So looks like the Jets, if they can get a first down here, they might be able to ice this game. I don't know. Both teams have 3 timeouts, so we'll see what happens. But Castle, where do you want to start, man? Anything else you want to add to that?
No, I think that's good. I mean, just letting the viewers know, that's kind of what we've always been talking about doing is doing a podcast, me and you back and forth, as you just mentioned. So, I'm glad we're finally starting and look forward to the journey. And hopefully everyone enjoys the conversation so we can maybe get some more opinions, some more outside opinions on our opinions, and can have a little bit of a sports debate. So that's what it's all about. So
yes.
But let's get started, man. Let's get started with yesterday's games.
All right.
Let's get started with who you want to start with? You want to start with Georgia?
You want to start number 1 team in the country?
Yeah, let's just start off with Georgia. By the way, in case anyone doesn't know, Hess is a big Dogs fan. Used to be Virginia Tech. Just going to throw that out there.
Yeah.
But
I like the Hokies, local team.
Big Dogs fan now. So we got a Dogs fan of the house, and then we got a UK, Kentucky, coming into UGA last night. Carson Beck. Let's start there.
Dude, Carson Beck, it was crazy because I had a stat that was talking. Everybody's been talking about how Carson Beck has been not Stetson Bennett. We need to bench him. And I mean, I've said it too. I mean, the offense has been so slow under Mike Bobo. It's just not been what it was last year. But statistically, he has outperformed through the 4 games going into the Kentucky game better than Stetson Bennett's Heisman Trophy run that he had last year to make it into New York for the Heisman Trophy. So Beck yesterday, career game, 28 for 35 for 389 yards, 4 touchdowns, and the interception really wasn't his fault. It was just a bad play, happens. And then the other thing that shocked me is Georgia didn't have a 100-yard rusher. They had Dijon Edwards had 9 carries for 54 yards. Kendall Milton, who has been hurt, which I think should be the primary back at Georgia, but he had 8 carries for 47. And the other big thing was Brock Bowers. Dude can't be stopped.
Brock Bowers.
You got to treat – defenses are going to have to start treating Brock Bowers as you treat a toddler. You can't leave him by himself. You're going to have 2 people on him at all times because he's going to get away and he's going to make the plays. He had 7 catches for 132 yards and a touchdown. Marcus Rosemary Jack Saint had 4 catches for 99 yards. And then Ra Thomas had 5 catches for 63 yards and a touchdown.
Tore it up in the air raid attack is what it sounds like. I didn't get to watch much of that game, but I know you texted me and said Beck went 16 for 16. Is that right?
Oh, yes. I think he started out the game 16 for 16. Could have been different there. Could have been like 13, but he was on it.
So it sounds like can we put Beck in the Heisman conversation? Can we put Bowers in the Heisman conversation? Let me ask that.
I think Bowers needs to be there because he's been doing it all year for Georgia.
I mean, if you take a step back and look at Bowers, I mean, if you look back at Auburn, I mean, Bowers is the reason you all beat Auburn.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, he did it.
I mean, he single-handedly beat Auburn.
Literally single-handedly.
Yes, catching balls with one hand. Yes. I mean, it is just insane. So then, like I said, I didn't get to watch the game much yesterday. I wasn't worried about this one. I already had Georgia whooping Kentucky, as I mentioned to you.
I didn't see 51-13 though.
I didn't see that. I think my projection was 35-17. I thought for sure Kentucky's run game would open up. I mean, they had a big run game against Florida the previous week, but it is Florida. I know Florida beat my balls, but that's okay because it is what it is. It's college football. So,
right. Go ahead.
That Florida team. I mean, they're no slouch. So that's why I had Kentucky. At least coming out making this somewhat of a game. But you got to remember, this was a home game for UGA.
Right.
I mean, and the crowd was rocking. Yeah, it was everything in Georgia's favor. They come out slinging it and just never look back. So
right.
I still look for Georgia to win the East. I think it's no competition. I still have Georgia favored at 2 to win the national championship. So we'll see what happens.
I want to also talk about Kentucky. I don't want to leave this game without talking about them. Go back to the Florida game. That was a huge game for Kentucky. That for that program, and I'm one of the people that are starting to see Kentucky as more as a football program than a basketball program. I know they're a blue chip basketball team. Calipari hasn't been doing it. He's had top 5 recruits. They haven't been doing it. That's nor here nor there. But what Stoops has been doing with Kentucky over the last couple of years they haven't seen this success since Bama coach.
I'm going to argue with you right there. Stoops, good coach, great coach. Don't get me wrong. I think he's gotten 2 wins in the SEC, like major wins, since his tenure at Kentucky.
But I mean, it is Kentucky, though. I mean,
But only 2 major wins in the SEC. You look at Heupel, comes in and gets 3. You look at across the field. You look at Shane Beamer, comes and gets 2 already. So I mean. I think, sure, Kentucky's better off with Stoops than they were. I'll agree with you there. This team will make a bowl, probably a decent bowl. They're probably an 8-9 win team. It's a tough matchup for Tennessee. As me being a Tennessee fan, I don't look forward to playing the Cats. So
I mean, you got Kentucky's next 3 games. We won't go into their whole schedule, but they got Missouri next Saturday.
Tough.
At Kentucky, a 7:30 kick, and then Tennessee comes to Kentucky the 28th.
So they have a bye week.
Yep, and then they got Mississippi State on the 4th in Mississippi State. Then they go and then Bama comes to them, but that's nor here nor there. But I want to go back. It was Bear Bryant I was trying to talk about. They haven't had this success in football since Bear Bryant was there. And the thing that got me was Georgia struggled against the run game against Auburn. They let the Auburn run all over them.
It was the first true road game, right?
But Kirby Smart, discipline, leans on stopping the run. You're going to stop the run all the time against Kirby's team stops the run. They didn't do that against Auburn, and Kentucky comes off Ray Davis's career game, 230 plus yards rushing against Florida, and Florida's defense looked
240 or something like 245.
But if you look at the stats, since we went over the stats with Georgia, Devin Learley was 10 for 26 for 128 yards and 2 touchdowns. And those 2 touchdowns were in the second quarter, and it looks like in the third quarter they missed the extra point. And then Ray Davis only had 15 carries for 59 yards. His longest run was 11 yards. So Georgia came in, shut out the narrative of are they slouching, are they too slow? Because, I go back to what you were saying. I was kind of on the fence with them. Like, I don't know, but that sent a message, and I think they're the number 1 team in the country. And
hands down. on paper, sure. I mean, before this game, they were 38th in the nation in rush defense, right?
Right.
Um, you look at your all's rush offense. You mentioned that you didn't run for 100 yards. Well, that's because y'all are ranked 60th in rush offense.
Which
So
is
that's
insane.
that's middle of the pack. 38th in rush defense, not terrible, not great. You'll definitely bump up after this game, I'm sure. So I need to look at
Right.
what y'all are at now. But you look at Kentucky, and they have the 9th ranked rush defense, right? But you just mentioned that you all are not a run heavy team. So I mean, that's what you got to look at. And then they have the 77th pass offense.
Mhm.
So I mean, you look at paper, and that's why I picked Georgia to win this game. I mean, on paper, all day Georgia wins.
I think too, we'll kind of wrap it up here with Georgia. Kirby Smart has got to the point. He's like, all right, the schedule didn't look that strong, but now at the end of the season, they're going against. They got Vandy this week, which it's Vandy in Vandy, should be another W. Then they play the rivalry against Florida. Then they play a Missouri team, which we're going to cover them in a little bit. They play Missouri and Georgia. Then they got Ole Miss in Georgia. Then they play the Vols, and then they wrap up against Georgia Tech.
That's a tough schedule.
And, I mean, it finishes strong. But the last thing I was going to say about Kirby, I feel like the first 4 or 5 games, he has sat here and been like, all right, I have all these 5-star recruits, 4 and 5-star recruits. I need to get everybody in case somebody does get hurt and we're in the national title or in the playoff games. And we need to get depth out there. We need to get these people out there. And I think that's what he does so well that other coaches don't, that Kirby plays everybody he can, figures out who can win and who can make the plays, and then he leans on them the rest of the season. And I think this game, Kirby came out and said, all right, let's show the country what Georgia's about this year. And I think that was the message that was sent there.
All right, final thoughts on Georgia. Did they run the table for the rest of the season?
The only game that I see that they could possibly struggle, I mean, the Florida game's always a rivalry game. You don't know. They beat us. They beat them one year with when you didn't expect them to. That game, it's always close. Seems like
is that game home or away?
It's the neutral site in Jacksonville, world's largest cocktail. But
Gotcha.
The game that I would circle if I'm Georgia that I really need, that they're going to really have to focus on and worry about, is when they play in Knoxville on the 18th of November, especially if the Vols continue to play the way they played last week and they continue to do this. And that run game the Vols have, which, again, we're going to cover that too.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Could be nasty. And if Milton can continue to build on what he's got, that is the only team that I see in the entire SEC, if not the entire country, that can score repeatedly on Georgia's defense.
I agree. It comes down to one player, really, and you just mentioned him. So we'll get into that here in shortly, but I just wanted to wrap it up on Georgia. Go Dogs, as Seth would say. So go Dogs, baby. Let's move on down to the next item that we had for today's podcast. That would be the Red River rivalry. Say that 3 times in a row.
All right.
Yeah, Texas and Oklahoma. They give it to me. I was not expecting this one at all. I missed this one yesterday.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Thought for sure. I mean, Texas on paper, it shouldn't even been. I mean, I knew it was going to be a close game, or at least I figured it would be a close game, which it was. But I just thought Texas would come out on top. They've really showed me that their defense is just overpowered. Their offense was lights out with Quinn Ewers.
Right.
I mean, Ewers, you cannot put this one on him. I mean, yesterday I think he was also can't remember what he ended up finishing at the end of the game, but at one point he had completed 16 passes in a row, 2 off the record at Texas. So the guy was lights out. So it's not on him. If anything, I think what lost them this game is turnovers. Just critical turnovers throughout the entire game. I mean, start the game off, turn the ball over on the first drive, come out the second. I think it's the second drive or third drive. They turn the ball over again. They fumble.
Turnovers killed them. Turnovers were killer.
Yeah, I think they had three or four turnovers. Is in what they finished up with.
I mean, Ewers finished with 2 interceptions and only 1 touchdown pass.
Yeah, but see, what was his final stats?
He was 31 for 37 for 346 yards.
See, I mean, you can't put this one on him.
And Texas also had 20. Jonathan Brooks had 22 carries for 129 yards. But Oklahoma didn't have no turnovers was the thing there. And then,
fun fact on Jonathan Brooks, he's number 3 in the nation in rushing yards.
Texas puts out them sneaky run backs.
Yeah, so I mean, you got to look who's in the NFL now on the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, so
Robinson.
They are a run-heavy team. They're just like Tennessee if you really think about it.
Not
Oklahoma.
Hold on, before you continue that, I just want to give you an update right now. I was talking about the Broncos game, the Broncos-Jets. It's second and 10, 41 seconds left in the game. Denver's down 24-21. They got the ball on their 41-yard line. So they're trying to get in the field goal range. Looks like they got one timeout left, so that game's coming down to the wire. But hold on, Russ drops back. Russ sacked, fumbled, out of bounds. Oh, Jets recovered it, and Jets are going to seal this game with a fumble return for a touchdown. Jets are going to win this game.
Oh, the life of a Broncos fan. How's that feel?
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that here in a little while.
Yeah, damn.
Yeah, back to this rivalry. So, yeah, I had this game with Texas winning 35-28. Didn't miss it by much. I mean, Texas was a 6.5-point favorite. Last year, if we look at last year, I mean, Texas demolished Oklahoma. So this game meant a little something to Oklahoma coming back from a 49-0 loss last year.
Right,
so,
right.
They came out swinging. They came out, playing hard. They played very good. Oklahoma should move up quite a few spots after that. I mean, it's a big win.
The AP poll came out. They're up to fifth. Texas dropped down to 10.
Okay, I'd agree with that. I'd agree with that poll.
How
about Alabama in that poll? Where are they at now?
Alabama's 11th. They didn't move.
11th. Okay, all right. I was curious on that one. I know we're going to talk about Alabama a little bit later too, but I was just curious if they had moved or not.
I was with you on this whole I didn't believe in Oklahoma's offense. Like, they hadn't played nobody. They were beating these chump schools. Brent Venables is known for his incredible defense. The offense last year for what Oklahoma had was trash. Did not see Oklahoma coming out, but I will, in my eyes, I know everybody's talking about Caleb Williams, Sanders, talking about Penix Jr. with Washington. I think Dylan Gabriel became your Heisman favorite in this game. The dude was 23 for 38 for 285 yards and a touchdown. He had 14 carries for 113 yards. Single-handedly put Oklahoma on his back and won that game. Didn't make the turnovers that Ewers made. And that atmosphere was absolutely electric. The Texas State Fair, I want to go to the Texas State Fair and just be part of that atmosphere. The divide in the crowd, or Oklahoma on one side, Texas on the other, and the people that were there. I mean, Oklahoma had all their celebrities there. Trae Young was there. McConaughey was there. Hangman from Top Gun was there. Jeff Powell, he was there. I mean, that was an incredible atmosphere. And what a game. National television, noon kick. Every year this game is up. Other than last year, this game always is entertaining to watch. But back to Dylan Gabriel, I mean, this dude is putting up incredible numbers as a quarterback. He has just absolutely set the world on fire all year long. He has got 1,878 yards passing, 16 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. Just his completion percentage is over 70%.
True, yeah.
And he's got a quarterback rating of 91, which is third in the country.
That's pretty good.
I mean, this dude is absolutely going off. The worst game he's had was against SMU in game 1. He threw for 176 yards.
It happens.
But he had 4 touchdowns.
Exactly. Yeah. Dylan Gabriel's got to be in the conversation. I mean, that's one of the biggest games of Oklahoma, on their season.
Yeah.
Pulled out a win. So hats off to Oklahoma on that one. Did not see the Sooners taking that one. Fun fact for you, since 1955, both teams were 33, 33, and 3. So right now, Oklahoma just took over the W column. And like I mentioned to you yesterday, this is the last time technically in the Big 12. So very sentimental there, a lot of emotion. Love to see it yesterday. All left on the field. So Great game.
Absolutely. And next year could be Arch Manning's time to enter this thing, but we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, we'll see. Not 100% it's his offense. We'll see what happens. That's a stout quarterback room at Texas. Very.
I agree. Before we end this game, talking about this one, do you think Oklahoma's a national championship contender?
You have to put them into the mix now. You just told me they was 5th in rankings.
Yes.
They're undefeated. They're 6-0. Or 5-0.
6-0.
6-0. Yeah, I had it right. Okay, 6-0. Yeah, how could you not? I mean, they're 6-0 rolling in, and I don't think they have that tough of a schedule left. I'd have to pull up their schedule and look if you want to look at that real quick. But I do think that from the looks of it, this is a 10-2, 11-1 team. So
They got UCF next on the 21st. Looks like I got a bye week here. 2 straight bye weeks. Maybe they don't play for 2 weeks. Is that right? What is next week? 14th? No, they got a bye this week. So then they play the 21st, and then they got at Kansas, at Oklahoma State, West Virginia at home, BYU, and then they finish with TCU. So
so they'll be favored in every game.
Yeah, it should be. The only game that looks like it could be something could be that at
Kansas, yep.
But it's Kansas. So.
It's Kansas. We'll see. That could be another topic of conversation for basketball team or football caliber.
Up and coming football program. They're putting money in it.
Very, very. Yeah, I like to see it.
We're talking about the AP poll. Biggest change was obviously Texas dropping out of the top 5. Ohio State is now 3. Florida State is 4. Oklahoma moved from 12th to 5th. No change at 6 with Penn State. Washington is 7th. Oregon is 8th. Texas is 9th. That was my mistake earlier. They were dropped to 9th. And USC dropped from 9th to 10th after their just terrible game against Arizona. 3 overtimes against Arizona and only won 43-41. And Alabama didn't move. North Carolina went up 2 spots to 12th. Ole Miss went up 3 to 13th. Louisville jumped from 25th to 14th, and we're going to talk about that game. What a game that was.
What a game.
Oregon State unchanged at 15. Utah up to 16th. Duke up to 17th. UCLA went from unranked to 18th after their upset win against Washington State, 25-17.
I think that's a little high.
Washington State dropped from 13th to 19th. The Tennessee Vols moved up to 19th from 22nd. They were idle this week. Let's see. Notre Dame dropped from 10th to 21st. LSU moved up 1 spot to 22nd. Kansas went from unranked to 23rd. Kentucky dropped to 24th. And Miami, how they're still ranked after their debacle against Georgia Tech is beyond me, but they rounded up the top 25 at 25th after losing 24-20 to Georgia Tech on why do you not kneel that ball? I don't
even want to talk about that.
Good God.
That was probably the worst officiating play call I've ever seen from a head coach. That could be like get fired type call.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
You just cost them the game. I mean, just kneel the ball, call a game.
And it is a final in Denver. The Jets did pull off the victory.
I just saw that, yeah.
Nathaniel Hackett gets his revenge on Sean Payton, saying he did the worst coaching job in coaching history. He said, take that, Sean Payton. You can't fix Denver either.
That's tough. Denver
drops to 1-4. They go Thursday night against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Is this the old Denver with Kyle Orton out there? Is that what I'm saying?
Hey, Kyle Orton was at least a winner, so, I mean, at least Kyle Orton made the playoffs.
Yeah.
I did read earlier today, there was an article that said, depending on what goes on this week and next week, which would be the Chiefs game Thursday night, Denver could be going to decide to go ahead and start selling off veteran players and looking toward next year. So, looks like Denver's looking at getting in that Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison Jr. sweepstakes. So
they need to. Marvin Harris Jr., what a guy. We can talk about him too here in a minute.
If you can't block, it don't matter because Russ got sacked all day. So
that's true.
But anyway,
it don't matter who's in there. But let's move on to LSU and Missouri.
What a game that turned out to be.
Yeah, I figured. I mean, I figured it would be close. I had LSU pulling this one out, just because I figured they was a little bit better on offense than Missouri. Defense, there's no defense on either one of these teams. It was just lack of effort all over the place on defense on both sides of the ball. I don't even want to talk about defense. If you let someone score 39, you score 49, that's the final. No defense. Good offense from both sides. I thought LSU would have a little bit of a hangover from last week. Tough one with Ole Miss coming off that 55-49 loss. So I figured for sure that would slow them down a little bit, but they didn't. So big win there for LSU. I mean, they could have went 3-3. It's down now they're 4-2, and a solid 4-2, honestly. If you look at their schedule, so
3-1 in conference play.
Yeah, 3-1 in conference play. I mean, so they should be able to run the table from here. I believe they've already played most of their games. So
I wanted to say this though. I mean, the LSU shouldn't even be in this situation. They shouldn't. The way the hype came in with Jaden Daniels, Brian Kelly, this offense was projected to be the best offense that's been in LSU since Burrow, if not better than the Burrow offense. And to me, this has been an absolute disappointing season for LSU. If I'm an LSU fan, I'm not happy with a 4-2 record right now. And it shouldn't have been this close. Let's pretend we don't know the score. If I told you Jaden Daniels went 15 for 21 for 259 yards, 3 touchdowns, and rushed 24 times or 15 times for 130 yards and 1 touchdown, you think LSU destroyed Missouri. But on the flip side, Brady Cook absolutely outplayed Jaden Daniels. But he broke the record last week for most games without I think it was like 362 games or 362 pass attempts without an interception. He threw 2, and one of them was extremely costly. But he finished with 30 for 47 for 411 yards. And my personal opinion, the most underrated receiver in the entire country, Luther Burden III, he had 11 catches for 149 yards. I think that's like his 3rd straight game with over 100 yards receiving, but he had no touchdowns. Missouri, they don't feel like an SEC school when you play them. They don't feel like they even belong in the SEC, but they, year in and year out, they always make these perennial SEC schools play football. They make them play. And I told you earlier in the week, Missouri has the best offensive line in the entire SEC.
I agree.
And that's saying a lot based off when you got Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, who are putting out offensive linemen in the NFL year in and year out. But LSU, Jaden Daniels, the dude's good. That dude
very
is
good.
Very good, but I'm not a big Brian Kelly person. And
it's just LSU again, no defense. Like I mentioned.
And that's what bothers me, because LSU, this is the best offense that Brian Kelly has ever had in his entire coaching career. And absolutely, you go out and get a defensive coordinator nobody knows about, and you don't have a defense to back up this incredible offense. Like, to me, that's a failure on him as a coach. I'm not happy if I'm LSU. I'm not happy with this offense.
I'm 4-2. I'm 4-2. So I'm not happy that we have a couple losses on the table, but you got to look at the flip side. It's not a terrible spot to be in at 4-2 right now, 3-1 in the SEC. Like I said, I think the rest of the schedule isn't too bad. So LSU should pretty much run the table the rest of the season. So if they come out with 2 losses,
well, LSU, they got Auburn next.
Should be a win.
In LSU night game, it's impossible to win a night game in Baton Rouge as a away team. Then they play Army. Okay. And then they got the big game against Bama in Alabama, which LSU wins the next 2. Bama wins.
They can play Bama.
I think I'm going to go ahead and say it. I'm calling it right now. Mark it down. LSU takes down Bama in Tuscaloosa this year. I don't think it's even close. I don't think it's even close. I don't think it's close.
There's
Florida,
no defense, so
I don't think
it's going to be no offense versus no defense.
You might as well have me, you, our wives, and our kids on defense, and I still don't think Milroe can win a game. But anyway, Florida after Bama and LSU, and then they finish out with Georgia State and then Texas A&M. And we're going to talk about A&M in a minute as well. Again, if I'm LSU, I'm disappointed as a fan. Brian Kelly can't be happy with where they're at. You're right. 4-2, you're 3-1 in conference play. You're still alive, but
it's not over. A lot of season left. That's what I'm getting at. They could finish out 10-2. They really could.
Here's my thing. Let's say, hypothetically, Kentucky upset Georgia this week, which I think there was people out there that thought that was going to happen. I was worried about it myself. 4-2, with Georgia getting beat, or Georgia even playing close and winning, you're like, okay. Georgia come out and just destroyed Kentucky and said, all right, we're here, the SEC's ours, and then you give up 39 and only beat Missouri by 10.
Well, Georgia has nothing to lose. They have nothing to lose. They are still the top dog in the SEC. It's just plain and simple.
Right.
They have taken over Bama. Bama has no offense this year. It's shown. They're very one-dimensional. So, Georgia is the front runner in the SEC. So everybody's trying to chase after Georgia, and Georgia's just playing football. So, I see Georgia again taking the SEC very, very simply put. So, LSU, final thoughts. I'm going to say LSU runs the table as well up until the Alabama game. That one I'm a little iffy on just because it is Alabama.
Right.
I mean, you never put out Alabama. I mean, there's Alabama's what 5-1 right now.
Yes.
So I mean, they're still Alabama. I mean, they're ranking some of the worst statistics I've ever seen. Since I've been watching college football in the SEC with Bama since Nick Saban's taken over, hands down, and they're still almost a top 10 program. So that tells you something. So he can coach. Yeah, I think LSU can really.
Hold on. You said Brian Kelly can coach.
No, I didn't say Brian Kelly. I said Nick Saban.
Oh, Nick Saban. Sorry. I misunderstood that. I was about to say. But anyway, I want to give an update to our baseball fans out there. I don't know if anybody's watching the Rangers-Baltimore game. Rangers are up now 11-5 going in the bottom of the ninth. Looks like Rangers are going to come out of Baltimore with 2 wins, and then the next 2 games will be in Arlington. Baltimore took some hits down the stretch there. I think the injuries are finally starting to mount up in that bullpen and not having their closer. So looks like Rangers will come out of Baltimore with a 2-0 lead. Just want to throw that out there before we jump into the next game. I think we want to talk about let's talk about Ohio State, Maryland.
Yeah, bounce around. Want to drop down?
Yeah, let's talk about that for a minute. We'll get back to the Florida State in a second. I want to talk about that Maryland game. I feel like a lot of positives there.
Yeah, I call him Tulip because I can't pronounce his name correctly. But Tulea
Tagovailoa. I probably butchered that.
Yeah, Tulea. I'll just say Tulea. I mean, he came out striking. The dude has no help. Let me just put that out there. They were up 10-0 after the first. I mean, they were dominating the first half, and then they just could not move the ball in the second half. Ohio State showed up, which I figured they would in the second half. I think the final score was 37-17, something like that, 36-17. 37-17. I had it 45-28.
The fourth quarter killed Maryland. They just lost it.
Yeah.
It was fourth quarter.
Yeah, they were gassed. He couldn't do much more, than he can. I mean, he's a fifth-year senior. He's definitely going to make it to the league next year. I think he'll do good there. If he can get an offensive line, maybe a couple wide receivers. So a lot of the passes that I watched yesterday were on the money, and the receiver would just drop the ball. So that just frustrates me because I would like to see Maryland pull this one off. Maryland's a good team. They're always pretty solid and have been solid with Tulea. How you say it? Tulea? Is that right?
Tulea.
Tulea. To his little brother. Yeah. That's the way I'll pronounce it. So. Southwest Virginia accent doesn't go too well with those names. But,
right.
Yeah, I mean, the dude's good. He's plain and simple. He's
if I'm a Bama fan right now, do I wish he was in Alabama and didn't transfer?
Absolutely. You'd actually have a quarterback.
Agreed.
And with those wide receivers, I mean, Alabama's got studs at wide receivers.
Burton's a monster.
He had 18 yards again this past weekend or something like that. 2 touchdowns led him to the win. Yeah, I mean, it should be no question if you want him there back at Bama. Just to go to Maryland and then actually put a scare on Ohio State with that defense that Ohio State has. That's pretty impressive.
I agree. I mean, they had killed Maryland. Statistically, they only had 106 yards rushing as a team, which was a combination of players. They had their leading rusher had 11 carries. It was Antwain Littleton II. He had 11 carries with 38 yards. Fourth quarter, like I said, killed Maryland. Tulea finished with 21 completions on 41 attempts for 196 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. And I know one of those, I think he was getting sacked. He threw it up, got intercepted. I think if I'm an Ohio State fan, Kyle McCord, it's been an issue all year. It's like, is he the quarterback? Gosh, where's Stroud? Where's Paxton Miller? Where are these quarterbacks that we've put out here? And who's this Kyle McCord guy? He finished 19 for 29 for 320 yards, 2 touchdowns.
He's your guy. I think he just proved his point.
And Martin Harrison Jr. had another great game, which I did not know. Fun fact, a lot of people may know this. I didn't know that I don't really follow Ohio State because, quite frankly, don't care about them. But him and Marvin Harrison went to the same prep school together. They were teammates in high school, so they've had this connection for a while. Marvin Harrison had 8 receptions for 163 yards. A 58-yarder was his longest reception with 1 touchdown. Big thing there was Emeka Ibuka, he got hurt. He went down with an ankle injury, and are we laughing because dude got hurt?
No, I was laughing at how you pronounce his name.
Oh.
Yeah, no, never laugh at somebody for getting hurt. It's funny how you pronounce his name.
No, that's his name. So he's straight out of Dragon Ball Z. Anyway, Ohio State, they had a pretty good run game. Chip Tayama, I don't know. Chip off the block there. He rushed for 20 carries for 61 yards and a touchdown. But really, neither team had Maryland outrushed Ohio State, which is kind of crazy to think. But it wasn't.
Because Maryland coming into this was just one-dimensional pass game. I mean, that's all they have. So that is kind of a surprising stat. I didn't see that one coming either. Like I said, I feel like Maryland just ran out of gas. That's all it was. They just don't, he's running all over the field trying to sling the ball. I mean, Ohio State's defense just really cracked down that second half, and that's why we saw them pull away.
That fourth quarter, they scored 17 unanswered in the fourth quarter. I mean, that ended the game for them.
Yeah, it ended quick too. I mean, it was just suddenly Maryland was out,
and that's what scared Ohio State. Kind of how I figured.
Yeah, kind of how I figured it would go. They had a terrible first quarter. I think they had like 16 yards, something like that. 16 yards of total offense, maybe the first quarter.
Yes, yep.
So just absolutely terrible start. It was a away game too.
Yes.
So that's always a huge factor. A lot of these college kids, this might be their first away game.
Right.
Or first like true big
road. And I mean, playing in the Horseshoe is an incredible environment. So.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so who are we going to move on to next?
Well, before we go on, I want
to. Let's talk about Ohio State. Are they going to run the table?
Well, they got Purdue
Michigan.
They got Purdue next week. That should be a win. Then they play Penn State on the 21st.
Tough.
That'll be in Ohio State. Then they go to Wisconsin. Then they play a Rutgers team in Rutgers in New Jersey, and Rutgers has been a very good team. They just losing close games. They finished with Michigan. Easily could see it coming down to both of them teams undefeated. That Penn State has been probably single-handedly the most underrated team. And they're ranked 6th in the country. Nobody's talking about them. We're talking about every other team in the top 25 besides Penn State. They've just been there all year. And they got a good coach. James Franklin's a great coach. Penn State's a good team. So that game, I will put Ohio State again on maybe a alert, wouldn't say an upset alert, because you don't want to go into this game in Purdue and be looking ahead to the Penn State matchup. So, and Purdue's played them pretty good over the last couple of years. I think they upset them 3 years ago. So it's possible.
Yep.
But Ohio State, I mean, they got probably the best wide receiver core with Harrison and Ibuka. And Kyle McCord's showing now that he can get the ball to him. He can make the play. The run game could hurt him, but I don't think that bothers them until they get to a team like Penn State or Michigan that can say, all right, I'm going to stop you from throwing the ball. I'm going to make Kyle McCord rush to throw the ball, because when he has time, he makes the throws. When he's getting pass rush, when it messes him up. So I think they're going to have to establish a run game of some sort to finally get going. But other than that, I think Ohio State's they got a great defense. That defense can take them pretty far.
Yeah, I think they'll finish out solid. I think the biggest contest, I mean, you can't never pass up on Penn State, like you just mentioned. They are 6th in the nation, but that Michigan game, that's everything for Ohio State or Michigan this year. So, yeah, wrap it up there. Who do you want to go to next, brother?
Let's talk about the number 5 ranked team in the country, Florida State.
Oh, Florida State. Taking on the Hokies, the local team.
Yeah.
I saw that coming.
I felt like it was going to be a beatdown, but I knew Tech was coming off a pretty emotional win. They finally found a quarterback in Kyron Drones. He played really good for him again this week. I mean, he didn't do much in the passing game. He was 14 for 27 for the 140 yards, no touchdowns, but he also rushed for 80 yards. Tech's offense didn't do nothing in this game, scoreboard-wise. They had one rushing touchdown. They started out the game. This is what got me here, and I think this could bite Florida State down the road. They were up 22-0 first quarter. They were on all cylinders, just straight demolishing Virginia Tech. Tech couldn't do nothing. And then Tech goes 10 unanswered in the second quarter, comes out right after halftime, kickoff, 99 yards to the house. Next thing you know, it's 17-22 in the beginning of the third. They let Tech get all the way back in the game. And Tech is not a team that should be in this game. You do that against a good team, but hey, they beat LSU. But again, it goes back to me thinking Brian Kelly can't win a big game, so that should have been expected. Jordan Travis, he didn't play that well either. I mean, he went 18 for 24 for 170 yards and 2 touchdowns. The big shocker here was Florida State had no run game all year. It's been Jordan Travis, and this game they had Trey Benson, 11 carries, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. And that was their offense, was that rushing game. Tech.
What ended up being the final in that game?
39-17. Tech didn't score after they returned that kick at half, and that was it.
Okay, that's what I thought. I didn't think they scored in the second half. Other than that,
Yep.
I didn't finish watching it. But I had Florida State winning that one 45-21 was my projection.
Oh, good job there.
Didn't miss it by much. I thought Tech would give them a little bit of a scare, which they did. Sounds like Florida State did what most of these college teams do. They get comfortable, they take the foot off the gas, and then suddenly it becomes a game, and then they're like, "Oh crap, we actually got to play." So that's probably what you see there in that Florida State Virginia Tech game. Virginia Tech, I hate to see it. It's always more fun with VTs actually, competing in the ACC. They're still rebuilding after Beamer.
That program.
Yeah. I mean, Drone's at quarterback. He just, like you just mentioned, he just started, I think, last week or the week before last.
I think he started the last 3 games for him.
Yeah, but he hadn't played a full game.
Yeah.
So he had 617 yards up until this point, up until last night. Yeah, that's just not going to cut it. And then Jordan Travis, 1,028 before last night. So Virginia Tech was a 24.5 underdog in that one. You're going to Florida State. You're asking for some big expectations.
You're going to have to you're going to have to get some turnovers. You're going to have to make some plays.
You're going to have to make some plays, and that just didn't happen last night. The highlight of their night was returning that for a touchdown for 99 yards. I mean, that's the highlight of anyone's night when you go down to Florida State and score that. So Tech, I haven't even looked at their schedule. They'll be lucky to make a bowl game.
I
just being honest.
Don't think it happens.
I know they got some tough teams up ahead still, so
we'll
see what happens.
My takeaway too was, Florida State's defense. Tech did nothing on offense. Outside the quarterback play, he had all their rushing yards. He had all their passing yards. Tootin, I think that's his name, the running back for them. Bashol Tootin. Against Pitt, he had 24 carries for 109 yards, and in this game, I don't think he even seen 30 yards. He had 8 carries for 29 yards. So Tech's run game was gone in this game. Florida State shut that down.
Well, he's looking at we're looking at Pittsburgh. It's not the same Pittsburgh team as previous years. It's
right.
Kenny Pickett, not them.
Right.
They're definitely rebuilding too. So I think that was the biggest deciding factor. Everybody knew it. This would be a huge, huge upset. Be like Miami losing, to Georgia Tech.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
yeah, didn't see that one coming.
Nice thinking nil football.
Yeah, so yeah, hate to see it again for the Hokies. Like I said, I like seeing local teams. I know I'm a big Vols fan, but there's no actual rivalry there. They're a whole different conference, so I can say that for Tech fans. I know a lot of Tech fans in this area too, so hate to see it for them, but. I think they'll turn it around in a couple of years. I just don't think they're there yet. Recruiting's got to step it up a notch. We'll see what happens in the next couple of years for them. I hate it for the Virginia schools this year. Virginia, not trying to get off topic, but they're not playing that great either.
James Madison's the best school in the state of Virginia.
Yeah, I hate to see that. Right now,
a band school, guys, a band school.
Yeah, James Madison. I was going to say Liberty might be all right.
James Madison.
It might be. Yeah, James Madison. I agree with you. It's sad because Tech and Virginia, the funding they have for those programs and everything too.
Right.
But they'll step it around. I really do think it'll turn around for them. It just rebuild
takes time.
Yeah,
so
it does. I'm a Tennessee fan. I know all about that. So, all right, let's move on
to
down.
Notre Dame Louisville.
Yeah, let's move on down.
All right, Notre Dame Louisville.
Did not see this one. I don't think anyone did. Sam Hartman had 3 interceptions this game.
Yes, he played his worst game.
So yeah, it was terrible.
Yes,
Louisville barely beat NC State 13-10. I thought that was going to be a clear sign of this game. Louisville's coming off with a new head coach as well. I'm pretty sure I heard that last night. This Plummer kid's actually he's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be close. Since it was Louisville's home game, Notre Dame's traveled on the road. I figured Notre Dame would have a little bit more of a fight.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, it just felt like they was just off all night. Sam Hartman could not get it together. He just kept, it's probably his worst game so far at Notre Dame. So you hate to see it. I'm not a Notre Dame fan, not a Louisville fan.
Love Sam Hartman, though. Big fan
but
of Sam
I do
Hartman.
like Sam Hartman. That's what I was getting ready to say. I do like Sam Hartman.
Dude's been a class act. Some of the things he's done, like the Duke game, he stayed after the game to make sure that Riley Leonard was okay after his ankle injury. I mean, that dude is straight class act, and I think the only people who probably don't like Sam Hartman are Alabama fans that thought he would have transferred to them. Instead, he went to Notre Dame, and now they got to have Milrose quarterback.
Absolutely.
But I mean, Louisville, man. They statistically they just didn't make mistakes. They didn't turn over the football. That place was so loud. The fans were in it. Great win for that program. Louisville, I go back to when I was in high school when they had Brian Brom, who is now their offensive coordinator. He was their quarterback then. Love watching Louisville play. They have some of the nicest black jerseys. I think they're the original blackout team. It's good to see them doing well. Good to see a big win. I mean, I don't know much about Louisville football, and maybe some people out there do. I would say this is probably maybe their biggest win in program history, just due to the fact that it is Notre Dame. Notre Dame was in the top, what were they ranked, like 9th in that game, 8th in that game?
Somewhere around there. Top
and
10,
I mean,
I think.
Louisville hadn't really played anybody, came in 5-0, had a lot to prove. I think they did it. I mean, Jack Plummer, which no relation to Jake Plummer. A lot of people want to say he's related to Denver Bronco great Jake Plummer. No relation at all, so don't ask him. He hates the question. But they ran the ball good. They had 40 rush attempts for 185 yards. Jarhar, could be wrong on that name. I'm sorry, dude. Jahar Jordan had 21 carries for 143 yards and 2 touchdowns. He had a 45-yard touchdown run. Notre Dame had no run game. Jeremiah Love had 5 carries for 37 yards. That was it. Estime, I think he got hurt. He had 10 carries for 20 yards. Hartman, 3 turnovers, killed him. Again, I think this game literally just came down to Louisville didn't make mistakes, and Notre Dame did. Notre Dame goes, don't make mistakes, they win this game.
Louisville dominated all the way around. I mean, they dominated from the kickoff. I mean, it wasn't even close.
It was only tied.
It was close, but, I mean, every time Notre Dame had a hint of momentum, Louisville shut that down.
Notre Dame only led the game for a minute and 45 seconds. That was it.
I think Notre Dame, I mean, I think they're a solid team. They're a 2-loss team, good program losses, Louisville and coming off that Ohio State loss a couple weeks back. I still think they're a pretty decent team. We'll see what happens with them. I'm not really sure if Hartman can bounce back, which I'm sure he will next game.
Do you know who their next game is, though?
I don't.
USC.
Ooh.
In Notre Dame on the 14th at 7:30.
They got a tough schedule. I'm not going to lie. They got a pretty tough schedule.
When you're independent, you can play whoever you want to. I don't know why it's not tough. I mean.
Yeah, it should be cupcakes if you really want to be technical. But they don't. So props to them on that. USC is very beatable. They're very beatable. That's what I was going to say. Caleb Williams is lights out. Great.
I think you take Caleb Williams out of it, USC's not even top 25. That defense is abysmal. Abysmal on defense.
They've never been good on defense. I take that back. Reggie Bush days, they were pretty good.
Okay, I was saying, because you had Brian Cushing.
Mid-2000s.
You had Ray Maluga. Troy Polamalu.
Yeah, Polamalu, baby.
Had some greats on that defense.
Yeah, hair, baby.
Yeah. That's a big game.
Yeah. That's huge.
That's one we'll be...
that's next weekend?
Yeah, next weekend. That's one we'll be watching for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we'll get into the games for next week near the end here. That's my takeaway from this game, though, man. Notre Dame made mistakes. Louisville didn't. Louisville capitalized, won the game at home. Congrats to Louisville. Big win. Notre Dame, you got 2 losses now. Playoff hopes gone. Justin Hamilton.
Yeah. I think he keeps his job unless he just starts losing all these.
I don't think his job's in jeopardy, but
no. I mean, it's not a terrible loss. Louisville's good. Ohio State, you lost on the last play,
right? But you only had 10 men on the field.
Well, no timeouts though or anything like that either. So yeah, it does suck. They didn't have 11, but they weren't going to stop that anyway, even if they had 11.
Right.
just Ohio State wanted it more at that last play.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. Yeah. So let's move down to Bama.
Yep. Let's do
Finish
that.
off an SEC.
Finish off the SEC game.
Yeah. Bama and A&M.
Bama and A&M.
Wow. Bama was only a 2.5 point favorite in this one, so Bama kind of surprised me. And they played at Kyle Field, so
tough place to play. Tough place to play.
Very tough place to play. A&M's now 4-2, right?
Yeah, 4-2. 4-2
on
the year. Alabama's now 5-1 undefeated in conference play.
Yeah, Jalen Milroe, I still can't pass. They got one wide receiver.
I mean, I take my big thing with this game. I look at it. Nick Saban went into halftime and said, "We lose this game. You all just don't even need to come back to Tuscaloosa with me," because they held Texas A&M to 3 points in the second half, and it was a field goal in the fourth quarter. The fourth quarter was 2-3. They had a safety and a field goal was all scored in the fourth quarter.
Wow.
Milroe.
Let's just be honest. I mean, Bama is still Bama. That defense is always tough. Always. It's a bunch of 5 stars on the other side of the ball.
Right.
A&M had a backup QB. So I picked Bama to win this one. I thought they'd win big, honestly. I thought it'd be like 45-28.
I didn't see them winning big.
I thought they would. I thought they'd finally get this offense figured out. I figured Milroe would come off a big game, and they turned this thing around.
I'm going to say this. This is my takeaway from this one. Not a Milroe fan. Don't think he's a good quarterback. But on the flip side, this is what they need to see out of Milroe here. The dude was 21 for 33 for 321 yards, 3 touchdowns. He finished with negative 31 yards rushing. So the dude didn't have to rush the ball. He was able to pass. He made some incredible passes deep, which he missed a few. He cannot hit the mid-range. If I'm a defense going against Alabama, I say throw it the 10-yard pass. I'm not going to give you the deep ball, but I'm going to make you throw it in the middle of the field. He can't hit that pass. Texas A&M was allowing the deep ball. Jermaine Burton went 9 receptions for 197 yards and 2 touchdowns. Yeah.
He won the game.
Yeah.
It was off him, What Alabama finished on the run game? Because I know they've been struggling all year on the run game.
You take away Milroe's negative 31, they finish with 45 yards.
See, they're still one-dimensional. So, it's either they're going to pass or they're going to run. Well, which one is it? They haven't put.
They have the worst rush team in the SEC.
Yeah.
Okay, can you name Alabama running back?
I cannot, which is surprising.
It's Jalen Milroe.
Yeah. Big Cam Newton out there is what he looks like. He's good. He's just got to put it together. And Alabama's different this year. Like, this is the first year where they're not really sure who they are on offense. They still haven't found that offensive identity. They know who they are on defense, which they do every year. So that's what keeps them in this. Still proven defense wins games. That's why they are 5-1. So I don't know. Alabama, they're still a favorite in the West. If you look at it on paper, they did beat Ole Miss pretty easily. They got LSU, which will be a tough game. And honestly, I think my Vols give them a run for their money. That game is at Tuscaloosa.
I don't think it's a big deal.
I think it's going to be a tough game. That'll be a very tough game. A lot of emotion left over from last year for Alabama. A lot of players, though, too, aren't on that team. So we'll see.
Talking about
that game's going to be electric.
Talk about defense. Back to Bama. Both teams had 16 first downs apiece. Bama gave up 344 yards of total offense. A&M only gave up 306. Alabama was averaging 0.9 yards per rush. A&M was averaging 1.9 yards per rush. And time of possession was literally even. 29 minutes for Alabama, 31 minutes for A&M on time of possession. So packed house in Kyle Field, 108,101. Like I said,
it's a good game. 6 points and a solid game all the way around.
They hit the over 45. The over-under was 45. They had 46 total points. Bama's defense, good, but it's not Bama defense. They don't have. They lost a lot. They lost.
It keeps them in the game, is what I'm saying.
Right.
It's the reason they are 5-1 is their defense. So just plain and simple.
Right. I agree with you. Their defense is definitely their bright spot. Who they got next week?
Should be a tune-up game.
They have their next game is against. They're off. No, sorry, I lied. I missed that. They play Arkansas in Bama. Then they have the Volunteers in Tuscaloosa on the 21st. Then they play LSU in Tuscaloosa. Then they go to Kentucky. And then they finish with Chattanooga and Auburn at Auburn. The Iron Bowl was in Auburn this year.
That's a tough little ending to the season. So
could
get interesting. When's their bye week? Is their bye week next week or the week after the Vols?
Week after the Vols. Looks like you got a bye week between the Vols and LSU.
Yeah, okay, good. I was a little nervous.
A&M.
We're coming off a bye week.
Before we wrap up, I want to talk about A&M, guys. I mean, Jimbo. Yeah.
Can't win the big games, plain and simple.
I mean, he's had incredible talent. They fired Kevin Sumlin when they were
just as good.
He was doing just as good, if not better. He had probably some better wins. He beat Bama. I mean, Jimbo did too, though, right? Jimbo was trying to become the first system to win twice.
First one, yeah. To beat Nick Saban. Yeah.
I don't think A&M is the program they are now, if it weren't for Kevin Sumlin. But, I mean, Jimbo, he won a national title in Florida State with Bobby Bowden's team. Jameis Winston was a Bobby Bowden recruit. Kelvin Benjamin was a Bobby Bowden recruit. Dalvin Cook was a Bobby Bowden recruit. I mean, okay, he won with great talent that he didn't recruit. He's been, this is his fourth year in A&M? Fifth year?
Fourth, yeah.
His buyout is like $71.8 million.
You can't fire him over being 4-2. You lost to Bama by 6.
You can't fire him being 4-2, but you was expected. The last 3 years they've been coming in the preseason and ranked in the top 12, and they haven't
recruit class,
but they haven't finished out in the top. They haven't finished in the top 20.
It's a typical, it don't matter how many stars you have next to your name. If you can't coach it once they get there, it don't matter.
There's one
That's
school.
What makes Georgia so good. That's what makes Bama so good.
There's one school that makes more money each year in the SEC than Texas A&M, and that's Alabama. A&M is dropping. Texas A&M drives in the money. They left the Big 12, came to the SEC, got the recruits, got the coach, the big name. They have the money
Electric
coming.
Stadium.
Yes, incredible place to play.
Yeah.
And we're settling for mediocrity in A&M. If I'm the A&M trusts and the founders and all the people bringing in the money, I'll say I'll give you the $71.6 million because we want to make over. I think they made over $1 billion last year, which is pocket change. I'm getting Jimbo out of there. I'm gonna get me a coach that can coach this talent and get me playing top football.
I disagree. I think it's too soon. I think you need to let Jimbo stay there, continue to stay there.
This is his fourth year. They should be his people.
Yeah, but he's going to. I mean, he's going to. You're talking about Texas A&M going to either 8-4 or 9-3 probably. That's still not bad. It's not bad.
Okay.
In the SEC.
Hold on. Let's pump the brakes here. Let's go back. A&M played New Mexico week 1, won 52-10. Lost to Miami 33-48, who lost to Georgia Tech because they didn't kneel the football. A&M 47. They beat UNL, University of Louisiana Monroe 47-3. They beat Auburn 27-10. Struggled against Arkansas to the end of the game and won 34-22, and then lost to Bama 26-20.
Give me the upcoming season. Who else they got left on the season?
Their next game is against the Vols.
Oh wait, I know that. Yep.
So that's an L.
Maybe.
So now we're 4-3. Then they play South Carolina. That could go either way.
Should be a win.
So we'll say they're 5-3. Then they play at Ole Miss. That's a loss. They're 4-4. Or 5-4, sorry.
5-4, yep.
Then they play Mississippi State. They're 6-4. They play a really strong powerhouse here, a team that could give them a run for their money, and Abilene Christian Academy.
7-4.
7-4, and then they finish with LSU, so they're finishing what?
7-5 or 8-4.
7-5, 8-4. That's good. You're paying this. Jimbo's the second highest paid coach in college football, and you're settling for that with the recruits they brought.
I mean,
if I'm playing, if that's Kirby Smart,
I let him coach. I don't fire him. Well, they shouldn't have fired Kevin Sumlin in the beginning. You made a good point. I think he finished like 8-4, 7-5 a couple of years, and they let him go. So, right. I mean, you're not going to get. I don't know what in the SEC. You're not going to go. It's very rare. What Kirby Smart and Nick Saban have done is extra. It's hard. Like It's not easy. You can't be replicated. Like as a Tennessee fan, like I understand that. Like I love Heupel to death, but
at least
I
Heupel.
I don't expect him to go 12-0 and make
Well,
it.
at least Heupel's came in though, and then he took the mess that he was handed and came out there last year and put the world on notice that, hey, this is my offense, this is my players that I've got, and I'm going to make them into what I need to. And you all were a national title contender. Jimbo was handed a gold mine and said, "You have all the money."
Old school. Jimbo's old school. He's just like Brian Kelly, old school.
Jimbo is a John Calipari of college football. He can recruit, and he can't put it out there. He can't win when it matters.
He needs to be a high-paid recruiter.
Yeah, why not? So you know what? Get him out of there. Give him
that $71 million to recruit.
Bye. Go see you later, bud. Go back to Florida State. Go back under Alabama. Go back under Nick Saban. He needs you because he can't coach his team he's got now anyway. So send him down there, and you two figure out Alabama.
Absolutely.
I think that's it for the college football.
Let's wrap this college football up. We've been talking on college football now for an hour.
Yeah.
Could go all night on college football. But let's get into baseball.
Oh man, baseball. Looks like the Rangers did finish off the Orioles. They're up 2-0 in that series. Rangers finally putting it out there on the field. That payroll, Corey Seager, the injuries they had though, to say that they made it. If you would have told me that Corey Seager would have struggled the way he did at the beginning of the year, DeGrom doesn't pitch all year. They get Scherzer, he gets hurt. They got Scherzer, right? Yeah, because Verlander went back to Houston. They got Scherzer. The biggest bright spot for them is their catcher, Jung, the rookie. He has been absolutely just unreal for them. That offense is just on all cylinders.
Jordan Montgomery.
Oh,
yeah, they got a great pitching staff.
Oh, they're pitching. Their rotation is top notch. I mean, I'm not
top notch. They made some great moves. This past season, and I told you I projected them to make it to the World Series.
And I think the Orioles been great. What a story! I told you at the beginning of the year. I said they win the AL East. Didn't see them winning 101 games.
I didn't see that either.
Orioles are going to be a team for the next couple of years. The talent they got coming up. If I'm a Baltimore fan, this sucks. But we still got games left.
Still got games left. Take the best 3 out of 5, right?
Yeah, it's a 5-game series. Best of 5.
So they're going to Texas now. So that's going to be tough. I don't know who's Texas got in the rotation for pitching. Orioles, if they can maintain their talent and they bring up that Holiday kid.
Rangers pitching. They got Nathan Eovaldi going up, and he lights out.
Eovaldi.
Yeah,
they're not touching him.
Baltimore has announced their starter.
Okay, well, see, that's a sign of fear right there. I think the Rangers sweep them. I think a sweep happens.
Tickets are as low as $90 if you want to go
to Texas.
Yeah, you want to go?
You want to fly?
Nope.
I would love to. It'd be fun. All right, next game. Let's get into it.
Hold on, I want to say one more thing on the whole Rangers.
I was going to go right into Houston.
Yeah. Orioles. I'm an Orioles fan, guys. The first time you've been in the postseason since 2012.
Yeah,
young team, be happy, guys. You guys about to be y'all gonna keep coming back. No big deal here. We'll talk about the game going on right now. We got Houston and the Twins. It's top first because we got a runner on first, one out. Twins.
Nah. Let's just be honest. Houston's going to take this series.
Houston should take the series, but Minnesota finally breaking that playoff drought and that streak of losing playoff games. Good for them.
1-18 since 2004.
But they have no pitching. I mean, their pitching staff has not been that great all year. Correa has been a worthless sign. Royce Lewis, center fielder, superstar in the making. Typical Twins, though. It's not the Kirby Puckett Twins that won World Series in the 90s. No. Houston should take this series. It shouldn't be anything much. Twins may steal one. I think this series may be a little bit more competitive than the Orioles Rangers, but Houston should walk away. You should be looking at an all Texas ALCS.
Yeah, I think it'll be a sweep, and that Houston Rangers series, if that happens, that'll be very good series.
That's going to be really great. We'll have to dive into that one.
I'll enjoy watching that. Go Rangers.
Let's talk about
the D-backs.
D-backs. Woo! Kershaw.
D-backs. Then we'll come back over to NL.
D-backs. Kershaw choking again in a postseason. But I loved his comment. I would rather be.
Not surprise him.
I loved his comment though after the game. He said, "I would rather be terrible in the postseason than not be playing in it at all."
Ouch! That's a stab at me.
D-backs young.
The D-backs came out of nowhere. I'd love to see them. That'd be a fun team, wouldn't it? Just to watch them make it all the way.
I mean, they got the pitching. They got Zach Gallen going in the next game tomorrow against Bobby Miller, who's a rookie for the Dodgers. So it's his first postseason experience. I could easily see the D-backs coming out of LA with 2 wins going into Arizona. And you tell me that Arizona comes out of LA up 2-0 and they just got to win 1 at home. Give me the D-backs in that one.
Yeah, give me a sweep. Dodgers, this is a critical game. Typical Dodgers, the past couple of years, they've done the same thing. Great season. Can't put it together in the playoffs.
Mookie Betts, man. MVP type year.
Yeah, I love Mookie Betts.
Mookie's MVP of the league if it isn't for Acuna doing ungodly things.
Oh, absolutely. Freddie Freeman. I mean, look at Freeman.
Oh, your top 4 in the NL for MVP should easily be Acuna, Mookie, Olsen, Freddie Freeman. That should be
that's your top 4. I agree.
Yeah. So,
but
back to the D-backs before we go back into talk about the Braves and Phillies. Corbin Carroll, that dude's good. That dude's really good. He's hitting 285 with on base of 362, slugging 506.
They got a bunch of just young kids, young talent. They remind me a lot of the Orioles. They really do, just kind of sleeping, kind of out there in the West. Nobody's really talking about them. Then boom, they're here.
Yep. I just wish they'd go back to the purple colors. Give me back the Randy Johnson era. Give me
Randy Johnson, yeah, boy. Give me the bird killer, baby.
The bird killer.
Yeah. Old lefty. Yeah. 6'7", 6'8", something like that. Imagine that coming
out.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, the tower. Great pitcher. For all you youngins, whoever watches this podcast, if you don't know who he is, look up Randy Johnson.
Yes, Randy Johnson was a
My God. Yes, amazing.
Yes.
Loving the postseason so far, though.
Yes. Good baseball.
Love seeing, new teams. It was exciting seeing the Marlins, the Blue Jays make it to where they did. So hats off to them. Great seasons. Just to even make it. This was a tough year in baseball. I mean, you was either good or you was bad. No in between.
Yeah.
The Midwest was a little weak. All the way up and down the board.
Central was weak.
Yeah. Just weak. But your NLs and your AL. I mean.
The East was stacked this year.
East was stacked.
NL and AL. Yeah, I mean, it's nobody from the Central other than the
East
Twins.
and West. Let me just put it that way. And then Texas. That's your team.
Well, they're in the West. They're in the AL West. Texas is both teams.
They qualify. Okay.
Yeah. AL West is Texas, both, and the NL West is Houston. So.
Okay, gotcha.
The only team from the Central is Minnesota from the AL Central.
Yeah, the Brewers.
Oh, Brewers were NL Central.
Yeah,
but that was wild card. They got swept, which was very surprising with that pitching rotation.
Sort of. It's kind of the Brewers. I mean,
they say that they're while we got the Brewers, you mentioned the Brewers said they're going hard this winter to get Pete Alonso in Milwaukee.
Have fun with that. He'll hit 50 home runs out there. They still don't.
I'm
not too worried about them. Yeah, it don't help.
Let's talk about
great player, but
right.
Don't see it.
Not a fan. Throw it again.
Yeah, Pete. let's get into the Braves, baby.
Yeah,
give me the chop.
Woo!
What the heck happened last night?
I mean, Strider pitched great. He had I think finished with 10 Ks or 9 Ks.
No help.
The offense, first time I've been shut out all year at home. I didn't like Snit's moves with the lineup. We had probably the greatest lineup in baseball history this year, and he switched Ozzie and Riley around. Why change it? But, hey, I'm not the manager. Honestly, Riley didn't do anything. Ozzie didn't do anything, so I don't think it really would have mattered. I get it, facing the lefties coming out of the pen for the Phillies. Kyle Schwarber, dude's hitting 197, but he has 47 home runs. I don't understand. I guess the home runs keep him in the majors. I don't get it. But Braves' offense was just stagnant. Ranger Suarez pitched a great game. He shut down the Braves lineup. I didn't agree with them pulling him in the 4th inning because he was shutting them down, and then they went to the bullpen, and the Braves left the bases loaded, and then they left the runners on the corners in back-to-back innings. That pretty much killed it for the Braves. Trey Turner made an incredible double play to shut him down.
Yeah, just left a lot of runners on base. That'll kill you. I mean, if you can't get the runners in, with 1 out, 2 outs, and you can't get a sac fly or you can't get 1 run, that'll kill you. Regular season, postseason, don't matter. If you can't get runners in scoring position to the home plate, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
Just flat out, y'all got beat.
Got to win the next. Got to win the next one.
You got it. You got to win the next one.
You got Fried versus Max Fried versus Wheeler.
if you don't win the next one and you go home to Philly, you might as well kiss it goodbye. It's going to be a repeat from last year.
Well, the Braves don't have Morton. Morton's out for the NLDS. He's out with
yeah, y'all are hurting on some injuries there. Y'all lost another pitcher too in your rotation coming out of the bullpen.
Cartwright.
So I mean, it's tough. I told you this. I don't like the Braves pulling their star players and stuff like that right at the end of the season. Do not. I understand that you pay them a lot of money and you don't want them to get hurt and stuff before playoffs, but it gets them out of rhythm.
Well, Braves really didn't do that. I mean, they pulled them out in the last game, but then they played the 3 simulated games.
A little bit. I know they did get the simulated games, but still, you get what I'm saying. You get out of that tempo, you get out of that rhythm that you're in the regular season and come into the postseason. It's a whole postseason's like starting 0-0.
As far as their bats, they didn't pull any of the batters, but they did change the rotation to see who else they had to throw them because they knew the injuries were coming in. So Snit tried to find who else he could have on that postseason rotation. But if the Braves can win,
the Braves are okay.
I think the Braves win this next one. They go to Philly. They destroyed Philly in Philly this year. I'm not worried about that environment. I will say this. A lot of people don't know. Obviously, you don't know. It's the first time you're probably hearing it. Me and Castle are going trying to see all the ballparks behind me, other than there's not a Cleveland one up there. Obviously, been to Atlanta. We went to Cincinnati this year. Me and him did. I went to Baltimore and Philly. I've seen five of the playoff teams this year, which is pretty cool. Citizen Bank, incredible park, guys. You're not being Philly fan or not, great park, passionate fans, and it shows that environment during playoffs is unmatched. So Braves got to win this next one if they want to have a chance, and they want to get at least back home on Game 5 because I think the Phillies win at least one in Philadelphia. But so this next game's huge. We'll see about that tomorrow. Before we leave baseball, I'll get you a last-minute update on the Rangers or the Astros and the Twins. Twins are up 1-0 going to the bottom of the first inning. Looks like, let's see what happened here. Play-by-play. Correa doubled and Polanco scored. So Correa with RBI double puts the Twins up 1-0 going in the bottom of the first. That game's just starting.
Interesting.
NFL got ready to kick off right now. Got Sunday Night Football. We're going to go into NFL real quick, cover some games today, and we'll finish up here. Before the game starts, give me a pick. Dallas or 49ers?
49ers. I've told you this. I do not see – 49ers are tough this year. I think they're Super Bowl favorites. I honestly think it's them and the Eagles. That's your best two teams I've seen so far. And Cowboys, Dak's not the answer. I don't get, what they see in him. Sure, he's decent, but he's not great. He's cost them a lot of games, and he just year in, year out, it feels like it's Dallas. They did lose to Arizona. It's kind of surprising.
Josh Dobbs.
Yeah, old Josh Dobbs, baby, Tennessee repping. My boy. But, I mean, it's the Cowboys. Let's just be honest. It's not the same team from the 90s. It feels like Romo all over. Just constant media. Everybody, loves Cowboys.
America's team, Jerry Jones.
Yeah, just a lot of money on that field. And I think they're just like my New York Yankees. For y'all watching, I'm a huge Yankees fan. But I think the Cowboys remind me of the Yankees. They put all the money out there and everything, and they still it doesn't show up because these players know they're getting paid. So what do they really have to play for? So, I don't know. I think 49ers win this one big. I know it's kickoff probably just about started.
No.
So it should be a good game. I mean, it always is. Cowboys 49ers, that's classic football.
Yep. My prediction.
Christian McCaffrey will tear them apart. So
I think Nick Bosa has a heyday with that offensive line. I think Dak has a terrible game. I'm saying 49ers 42, Dallas 17.
Oh, that's tough. I was going 35-21.
And it's in San Francisco. So
I was going 35-21. Two-score game. I really do think 49ers offense is complete. Their defense is very complete.
I agree.
If they don't take off the brakes and keep the pedal down, I think this should be an easy win.
Another mistake by the Broncos not hiring Kyle Shanahan when they had a chance. So not that I'm hurt by that or anything. Anyway.
I think you are. I would be.
We'll run through some games today, guys. The Jets beat the Broncos 31-21. Sealed the game at the end with the fumbles. Russell Wilson got sacked, fumble, returned for a touchdown, sealed the game. Big win for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think Tyler want to talk about that one a little bit here.
Yeah. I wanted to bring that one up.
Before you go into any of that, though, I want to say I'm going to give you, because I know where you're going with this. You're wanting to talk about your boy Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, boy.
Josh Allen was 27 for 40 for 359 yards.
I still love Josh Allen.
But the dysfunction, there's something going on. Stephon Diggs is not happy. There's some turmoil in there. But anyway, hit me with what you think here.
I think T. Law, which is Trevor Lawrence, in case y'all didn't know, I think he's a stud. He threw for over 300 yards again today. But what opened up all these passing plays and everything is the run game. Etienne had 140 yards. Let's say 140 yards.
136
138.
136 yards.
136 yards on the ground.
Yards receiving.
Last year when they played over in London, this game was at London today. When they played last year, I think he rushed for a career high of 160. So the boy loves being across seas, overseas, playing football. So he tore it up last year, tears it up again this year. Did not see this one coming at all. Picked the Bills to win just because they beat the crap out of Miami last week.
Right.
So really surprised. Bills did not click all game, really. Josh Allen's Josh Allen. Love my boy Josh. But just, yeah, like Hess mentioned, with Stephon Diggs, something's going on there. I look for Diggs to be in the trade portal after this season, especially if the Bills don't win it all or if they don't make a playoff run. It's kind of time for a change. I will say that.
I get you. I can feel that. I feel like I don't know. There's something off there. Calvin Ridley had a big game for Jaguars. He had 122 yards receiving. He had 7 receptions on 8 targets. Trevor Lawrence played a mistake-free game. He was sacked 5 times. Josh Allen wasn't sacked at all. I mean, you look at the stats. You don't look at the score. Buffalo wins this game easily based off the stats. But Jacksonville made the plays where it mattered most. You have absolutely no run game from the Bills today. They had 29 yards on 14 carries.
That's where the game was settled, at the trenches.
Fourth quarter, the Bills tried to come back, but it was a little too late at that point. 2 games in a row in London for Jacksonville last week and this week, and coming back home to the United States of America, 2-0. So another big win for the United States teams over in England. We'll move on. Anthony Richardson went down again with an injury. It looked like a shoulder, saying maybe AC sprain.
I say leave Minshew out there. Leave him. Went 11 for 14, I think, right?
Yes, he Minshew
128 yards. Yeah, he's not bad. They won. They beat the Titans.
They beat the Titans this year. That puts the Colts at 3-2 on the year. Yeah, Minshew finished 11 for 14 with 155 yards.
Yeah. Okay.
Minshew played great. Josh Downs was the leading receiver.
Where's Caleb at when you need him?
So Minshew looked good. Anthony Richardson, kid's not been staying healthy. Super talented. Dude's got an arm. I think give him a break.
Richardson's going to be fine.
I think give him a break, though. Let Minshew play a little bit. Let him step back. Make sure he's 100% before you put him back out there. And if it is, I think he's doing an MRI tomorrow to make sure it's just an AC sprain. Hopefully it's nothing more than that. He can get back out there because I think other than C.J. Stroud, he's been the best quarterback out of the rookies so far this year, which is not really saying much, but Stroud's playing out of his world.
Stroud's playing with Tom Brady caliber. I think he qualifies for like one of 4 quarterbacks with his stats. Mm-hmm. How good of a rookie year he's having so far. Houston lost today. Good game, 17-21, I think was the final.
21-19.
21-19, okay. Golly, man, I got to get these facts up. But close game. Kind of didn't have them winning again. They did beat the Steelers last week. Big win there. Actually shut out the Steelers. It wasn't even close. So Texas is it's good to see the Texans actually playing good football. It's been a long time since I've seen them be actually decent
prior to the Deshaun Watson,
JJ Watt, all that. So they were decent at a couple years back, but it's been a minute.
Steelers squeaked out one in Baltimore, 17-10. Still think that offense got a lot of issues. I think even though it's a big win, if I'm a Steelers fan, I am happy but not happy because this just solidifies another week of terrible offensive coordinator. What's his name?
Canada.
Yeah, get him out of America. His last name's Canada. Go back across the border, guy.
He's not going to. He's not going anywhere. Played terrible all game. Defense again kept the Steelers in this game. They have a solid defense. Kenny Pickett had a great fourth quarter. They put up 14 points to seal the win in the fourth quarter. Led a good drive going down the field with under, I think, 2 minutes left to take the lead and put it away. So it's nice to see The Ravens are no slouch. Ravens are good every year.
Lamar
That
had a bad
division
game.
is wide open.
Mm-hmm. Other than the Browns,
You
the Browns,
don't know. Well, the Steelers beat the Browns.
Browns, but Chubb being out with the Browns, I feel
Chubb's
like
out, and
Watson
Bengals are all over the place. The Bengals actually look like they're actually maybe starting to put it together, but they are 1-4, right?
yes,
1-3, well, they probably won. I think they won today.
Yeah, they won the 34-20 over the Cardinals. Jamar Chase had a absolute game. They're 2-3.
So
2-3.
2-3 now. So 2-3, like I told you earlier, statistically have a 22% chance to make the playoffs. Last year they start off 0-2, and then they, what happened the rest of the season.
Jamar Chase finished with 15 catches for 192 yards and 3 touchdowns.
That's insane. Too bad I don't play fantasy anymore. That would be insane.
I want to go through a couple of little games real fast here. Just want to throw out some scores. There's only one more I want to talk about, and I'll finish with that one last. Lions handled the Panthers, which they should. Love Dan Campbell. Love what the Lions are doing.
5. What is going on?
A lot of young kids. They got a lot of work to do. They need a number one receiver. Yeah. They shouldn't have got rid of DJ Moore. Dolphins struggled against the Giants, 31-16 final. Giants just have no offensive line. I think Daniel Jones was sacked another 7 times today. It's 18 sacks in 2 games for him. Dude's getting beat. Eagles squeaked out one against the Rams in L.A. 23-14. The Chiefs' abysmal offense continues with a squeaked win against Minnesota 27-20.
Travis Kelce returned, by the way.
He did return and had another touchdown.
He returned.
He finished
on the second drive. Yeah, he's fine. He's back. No T Swift drama or anything like that. So nope. He's good.
And I think the Chiefs are seeing the loss of Eric Bellamy going to Washington to be their offensive coordinator. I think it's affected them because they're not the offensive powerhouse they've been. But the game that I want to talk about, just because it's unprecedented for me to even sit here and say this or even have this conversation. The New England Patriots lost 34-0 today to the New Orleans Saints at home. Bill Belichick's defense gave up 34 points. Mac Jones was benched for the second straight week in the fourth quarter. He's thrown 4 interceptions in the last 2 games at home. Tom Brady only threw 4 interceptions his entire career in New England at home. I think the Mac Jones experiment should be close to being over. I think Belichick tries to find a quarterback, maybe use Zip as the backup to put him in. The Patriots look bad. They're the only team that looks worse than my Broncos right now.
This shows how good Tom Brady was. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, granted, they had Randy Moss, and some great wide receivers.
Julian Edelman.
But Brady is just like Manning. He makes wide receivers. Denver, before he got there, Denver was okay. They had a good defense, but he made wide receivers. That just tells you how good.
New England only had 156 yards of total offense. They had 3 turnovers and finished with 8 first downs.
Yeah, complete garbage.
New Orleans had 304 yards of offense, 17 first downs.
Yeah. Derek Carr, was he back?
Yes, Derek Carr played.
He had a shoulder injury. Okay.
Yeah, he played.
So he is back.
He had a good game, too.
I like seeing him play good at New Orleans.
Yeah, Derek Carr.
New Orleans is kind of a sleeper team to watch in that division.
He did okay. He went 18 for 26 for 183 yards and 2 touchdowns.
That's pretty good.
Kamara went 22 carries for 80 yards and a touchdown.
Attaboy. Tennessee rep.
Let's see. I think the Broncos are in for Caleb Williams at this point. I think they need to go ahead and just trash the whole team. Let's forget about it. Move on. Look forward to 2024 in Denver. See, the Niners and Cowboys have kicked off. That's all right, man. It's part of it. Live and learn. Want to shout out
all my teams.
Hey, you're all right, man. You're all right.
Yeah.
Quick real note here, but we are from Lebanon, Virginia, so we're in Southwest Virginia. Y'all look it up on a map. We have a school that's just about, 20, 30 minutes down the road called Gate City High School. I'd like to shout out Mac McClung on signing with the Magic. I know I transitioned straight out of the NFL, went to the NBA there.
Yeah, went straight to the NBA. Wasn't expecting that.
Want to talk about the local guy. I hope he he's able to play more. Dunk champion last year. I think he's in a good place.
I think he fits really well with Magic. He's wearing number 10. He was at number 9, so now he's wearing number 10 down at Magic. So fresh start, new number. Look forward to buying his jersey probably if he actually gets some playing time, which he should. I've been saying that for.
Will you wear it on the podcast?
Yeah, I'll wear it on the podcast.
Think we can get him as a guest?
I doubt it. Maybe. You never know what could happen. I do want to go watch him play, so we need to look for some tickets if he comes to Charlotte. I love to see him play
Uh,
in the league.
just to little quick note on NBA preseason starts, I think, this week or this weekend. So we're right there at the NBA season. We will be talking about NBA basketball.
Yeah.
Me and Tyler are both grew up huge Carmelo Anthony fans, and since he's retired and everything, we've really just bounced around with players that we like. Couldn't find a team that we really like since he's left. Melo was our guy. So we love Damian Lillard, Dame time. They call it freak. I think they're calling it freak time in Milwaukee with Greek Freak and him. I think they're calling it freak time.
Okay.
And
Makes sense.
we're gonna follow Mac McClung this year in Orlando. So, but we're gonna cover all of the NBA. Hopefully, have a good NBA season. Feel like it's been really stagnant over the last couple of years. So hopefully, this year's pretty good.
Hopefully so. On that note, I guess. Definitely huge Dame fans. I've always loved Dame, even when he was at Portland and beat Oklahoma City, which Carmelo is on. Love him. Always have. I like watching the Pelicans, but the Pelicans constantly stay injured. We tried picking them last year just to try to follow a team. Just injuries killed them left and right all season. Love Ingram. Love seeing Zion when he actually plays. NBA is very interested. If Mac actually gets to, I'm hoping. I don't see why not. He should start or come off the bench. But if he actually gets some playing time, I will definitely be all over that team, watching that and reporting on that each week. So, and Dame's going to tear it up in Milwaukee. And finally, he's on the East Coast. We are on the East Coast. So finally, I don't have to stay up till 1 o'clock watching this guy drain threes from the half court line. So,
I'll have to watch him in Philly, so that's great. So.
And honestly, we can probably actually see him for once this year. So that would be another one we'll probably try to put on our radar. Maybe try to go see Dame Lillard. That'd be nice.
I agree, man. That'd be really nice. Let's see. That's about all we got for the NBA. Hockey's starting soon. We're not big hockey people, but we got some hockey people.
About hockey.
Go Preds! Yeah. They're a local team, I guess you could say for us. That's about all I got.
To learn.
Yeah. If we need to, we'll talk about hockey a little bit. Let's see. Let's look to the end here, man. Let's just get it. I think we've got.
We're almost at an hour and a half. So, let's get the hot takes for this coming week. Let's pull them up and let's go through them.
All right, you go ahead, bud. Start us off here.
Oh, I don't have this. Hang on. I don't have the week pulled up.
You don't have the week?
I don't know who's playing this week.
I'm just going to give you my hot take. I'll give you my hot take.
Yeah, give me your hot take.
My hot take is the Pittsburgh Steelers need to mutually agree at the end of the season to move on from Mike Tomlin.
Oof.
I love Mike Tomlin. I think he's a great coach. I just think the Steelers need a different direction, and I think you bring in a new coaching regime because they're going to hire a good coach. They're going to get somebody they always do because they don't hire coaches. They never hire coaches. They had Bill Cowher forever. They've had Mike Tomlin forever, and prior to that, I can't remember what the dude's name was. They had him forever. So I think you go out there and find that other coach for the next 20 years and just start over new. Let Mike Tomlin do his thing. Maybe he retires. I don't know, but that's my hot take. I think the Steelers really need to move on from Mike Tomlin. I think that's time's wore out.
I disagree. Never had a losing season since he's been there. Great coach.
But I can't. But it's Pittsburgh. You don't settle for 8-8 every year. Yeah,
but they also had a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback. Ben Roethlisberger, great quarterback. And just, that's how come Steelers put out great teams year in, year out, but they won the games, Super Bowl and everything with their defense.
Right.
So I disagree with that take. I think Tomlin needs to continue.
Touchdown 49ers, by the way.
Great coach. That happened fast. That's what I figured. But yeah, so disagree on your take a little bit. I am a huge Steelers fan, right. So I like Tomlin. Can't say anything bad. I see where you're coming from. Looking at it, but I look at he's never had a losing season.
It's an incredible accomplishment.
What 14 years or something?
Maybe move on from him and keep him in the organization.
No, this is what you do. You keep him head coach and you fire Canada as an offensive coordinator. You get a good offensive coordinator in there. And I've told you this too. In the draft or free agency this year, you go after offensive line. That is where they need to pick up. They have Najee Harris, one of the best running back, could be one of the best running backs in the league.
He didn't do much today.
Don't have no offensive line. That's where they're losing, is that offensive line. So they got to go out, get some offensive line, and I think you see a whole different side. And a new offensive coordinator, I think the Steelers team's lights out.
All right. Well, that was my hot take, Aaron.
My hot take is Zach Wilson.
The guy's
2-0. Or 1-1, sorry. He lost last week. But he put a great scare on the Kansas City Chiefs, and I love seeing it. I think he's finally turned the corner. The kid's got a lot of heart. He wants that starting position. Of course, hate it for Aaron Rodgers, but love to see what Zach Wilson's doing. Love to see him get a winning season for the Jets. I hate it for the Jets. I'm a huge Aaron Rodgers fan. Love Rodgers. Was looking really forward to seeing him play at the Jets. But I love seeing what Zach Wilson's doing. So that's my hot take. I think he's better than a lot of people give him credit for. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
We'll hold off on the college game picks because I think we're going to hit another one up here Thursday. We'll talk more about that coming up then. Who do you got for Sunday Night Football tomorrow night? It is the Packers versus the Raiders. Who's you picking?
Monday Night Football?
Yeah, Monday night.
I'm going to go with the Packers. Jordan Love. Raiders just let me down every time I pick them. They're just stagnant. They should have stayed in Oakland. I hate that move, but it is what it is. Great field in Las Vegas. But Green Bay, give me the Cheesehead.
Cheesehead. Sorry.
Yeah, boy.
I'm looking toward that Thursday night beatdown. The Chiefs are probably going to get my Broncos. So I'm going to go ahead and say that one is Chiefs win that game.
Is that at Kansas? Is that at Kansas City? Or is it at Denver?
I will tell you in just 1 second. Sorry.
Go Broncos.
Sean Payton is extremely pissed off.
I think Broncos come out and give
Kansas City
a scare. I was in Kansas. Never mind. I take that back.
In Arrowhead.
Sorry, Taylor Swift to be there. She'll sing a song about you.
Last thing before we wrap it up here, I know we talked a little bit about baseball. Based off what we're seeing right now, who's your World Series teams? Who represents the AL?
In the AL,
Yep.
I think I want to go with the Rangers. I like the Rangers a lot. I really do. I told you this going into it. Even the last couple weeks of the season, I told you could pay attention to the Rangers. They got hot right at the end of the season. You love to see it.
Mm-hmm.
They snuck in kind of quietly. Everybody's focusing on Houston Astros. Everybody's kind of overlooking the Rangers, and I love to see it. They did really well in the bullpen and starting rotation. I mean, just Jordan Montgomery, Evaldi, just Scherzer. I mean, just tearing it up as far as pitching goes, and they have a solid hitting team too. I look for the Rangers to take it.
NL,
this one's tough. Obviously, I want to pick the Braves. I think the Braves should take it, in the NL. But I'm actually going to have to go with the Phillies. Love me some Bryce Harper. And I think the Phillies always put a scare on Atlanta for some reason. If this was any other team playing the Phillies right now, I'd pick the other team. But it's Phillies play Atlanta hard. I don't know what it is, but they always do. So I'm going to go Phillies in the NL.
All right, I'm going to agree with you on the AL, and I'm going to say
I definitely know you're not going to agree with me on the NL, and that is okay.
The Rangers, I think they're the best overall team left in the AL. The pitching's there. The hitting is equivalent to what Atlanta's doing all year. The Rangers are clicking right now. As far as the NL goes, I think the Braves figured it out, but I think they have to win this next game. I think if Atlanta loses game 2, I think it's the Phillies, and then I think it's the Phillies-Rangers in the World Series if Atlanta doesn't win. That's how much pressure is on Max Fried in this game 2. But I think you will see Braves-Rangers World Series, and then that's probably a 6 to 7 game series, in my opinion, and it'll be one hell of a series. But
I'm gonna pick if it comes down to Rangers and Braves, I'm gonna pick the Rangers. They got better pitching right now.
Fun fact: if it does come down to Rangers-Braves, the Braves have played more playoff games in the Rangers Stadium than the Rangers have because during the COVID year, that's where playoffs were held, and the Braves played all their games there. So they've actually played in that field more than they have their own field in the playoffs.
Yeah. I'm going to have to cheer for the Rangers in that series just because, they're not supposed to be there.
Okay.
So I love seeing it. I told you this too. I want to go back. I wish we could have like a tape recorder, but at the beginning of the baseball season, I told you the Rangers would be good. You went on about the Orioles.
The Rangers should have been good.
Watch the Rangers.
The Rangers should have been good, but they had a stretch there where they were abysmal. Corey Seager couldn't hit the blind side of a barn.
Yeah. Local kid too there at Texas.
Evan Carter.
Evan Carter went 4 for 4 in the first playoff game.
Yep, Elizabethan.
Yep, so cool to see that, with the local athletes. So, yeah, baseball, I love playoff baseball. Best time to watch ball.
Oh, yeah, that's great. So. Love October baseball. All right, guys. Well, that's it. I want to make a shout out to another local podcast. They shouted us out today in their podcast, Front Porch Talk. think, or front porch. Is it porch talk? Porch talk. Porch talk. No,
Yeah, way to mess up the shout out.
My bad, Cameron, Jeremiah, guys. It's porch talk.
It's
Great
Porch Talk official.
Yeah, great local guys. They're talking a lot of local high school sports, music, talking about the same stuff we're talking about as far as football. Great guys. Give them a watch, a listen. But that's all I got for this week, today. I hope you all have a wonderful Monday. I hope everybody has a great week. We'll be back. I think we're going to do one Thursday, so that'll be back out on Friday. This one will be posted it'll be Monday morning. So I hope you all have a wonderful Monday when you're listening to our beautiful voices. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to follow us on our Twitter, X, Tyler's Talking Sports. We have an email, tstalkingsports@gmail. Send us emails, questions, anything you want to send us. We're on Instagram as well. Be looking for clips. But that's all I've got. T. Castle, you got anything?
No, just closing remarks, like you said. Give us a follow. Appreciate the shout out too. Really appreciate that.
Sorry, I messed that up, guys.
It is our first podcast, so we're going to try to get better from here. I've really enjoyed this, so looking forward to Thursday. So it'll be uploaded on Friday. Like Hess said, we'll do some editing. But tonight shouldn't have much editing to do for tomorrow's upload. So looking forward to that.
We're on Spotify.
Really smooth and. Yep, also on Spotify too. I think Tyler's Talking Sports as well.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Docile Wolf for the cool logo.
Yes,
much appreciated. Hope everything's going well. Haven't played video games in forever, but I will be back to the Call of Duty. So don't want to get off topic, but
yeah, we'll probably
talk about some e-gaming.
Yeah, we'll have some video game talk in here. We're some gamers.
Yeah,
so,
so reminiscing on some good times. But yep, that's all I had. Just wanted to give a shout out to everybody who's helped us and followed us up until this point.
Yes.
And hope look forward to maybe meeting some new people and bringing in some people on this podcast.
Yes, absolutely. All right, guys. Well, that's it for episode 1 for Tyler's Talking Sports. We will see you Friday.
See you Friday. Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys.